Hiya. Hello. Hello. Chinson, can you hear me okay?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, Mal, what is up? So,
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm good, man.
all right, so we are gonna start in about 5 minutes. So, if you guys are joining us already, today we are gonna finish off the sixth group of the Open Qualifiers, group number F, group F, not number. It's gonna be M8 Hexa Alpha against New Era, as well as Bloodlines are waiting for the loser of the match. So very very exciting. This is what I doubt as the group of death, because there are a lot of really good teams that have already fallen, such as Cyan, Royal Flush. Mal, I will just send you the link to the bracket. And M8 Exa, they actually had two teams in the same bracket. Unfortunately, Zeta fell to Bloodlines in the round 3 of the losers bracket. So Bloodlines will be the one standing a chance to advance to the top 16. So definitely this is going to be a really fun match to watch, and really looking forward to that. Alright, so let me introduce myself. My name is Chisin. I am the organizer as well as the I would say I'm the host now, now that we have Mal as a caster for us. So hi Mal, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys and girls. I'm Maleficarum. You can call me Mal because my name is overly complicated. But yeah, I have the pleasure of shoutcasting for you guys today. I did cast yesterday as well. So for any returning viewers, thank you for not switching off because of me.
They might switch off because of me.
Well, it's fine, man. I don't think that's going to be the case by this stage. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see some more games today. We saw some insane action yesterday, so I'm expecting even more today with the way you described this group.
Yeah. So M8 Hexa, just give you a little background. This organization, they actually send many teams. I think Alpha, Omega, Zeta, C Chaos group, and Delta, if I'm not wrong. So there were about 5 teams.
Wow.
And I think so far none of them have qualified. I don't think none of them have qualified, and they do, however, have another chance in group G and Group H. Omega, Delta, and Zeta were all invited to play in Group G and H. So that's gonna be on tomorrow as well as Tuesday. But today it is Alpha's chance to move in as the first M8 Hexa's team into the top 16 group. Alright, so as for New Era, they have beaten some really good teams as well on the way to the winners bracket final. They managed to beat Zeta, New M8 Hexa Zeta, as well as Bloodline. So 2 really good teams that they managed to beat to get here, and if they manage to beat Alpha as well, they are definitely a top contender for the season, and I'm really looking forward to that. Alright, so I'm just sending the players the lobby, and hopefully they will hop on fairly quickly, as we will try to begin a match at 9 PM sharp. Let's see if everyone could jump into the lobby. Alright, so that's gonna be those are the 2 matches that we'll be casting today. It wouldn't be there wouldn't be a lot of match today as compared to yesterday, because initially these 2 matches were supposed to be played on Saturday, but because I thought that it will drag way too long, it will be 6 hours of streams, and I thought it would be better to split it up and get ourselves some rest. Good thing as well, because I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I'm still feeling the I'm still coughing.
You need to look after yourself, man. To be fair, like I said, I think it's good for the viewers as well, because, like I say, yesterday there was a lot of action to take in, a lot going on. Some team compositions that broke the meta a little bit but still worked. Some teams that had literally went from playing poorly to amazingly over the course of one game. So I think the viewers probably needed to break it up a little bit, because otherwise that's probably too much in one day, even for them. So I think it's going to be a good day. Even like I said, you've got these two games. But these could easily go to sort of best of, this could be three games of, 3 games apiece potentially per series. So, we saw a lot of sort of 2 game, straight up victories yesterday. But there's nothing to say that that's going to happen today. So, yeah, this still could be pretty exciting.
Yeah. So I forgot to mention. Thanks for reminding me that this winners bracket final will be a best of 3 games. If you have seen our previous qualifiers, the previous rounds were all best of 1s, but now in the winners bracket final as well as the losers bracket finals, they are all going to be best of 3 games. So we will watch more action, maybe teams switching things up when things are not working for them for the first game or the second game. We will see what goes, and definitely the meta might have shifted slightly thanks to the new hero that we had the opportunity to watch yesterday. Senil played in almost every single matches, and it's such a good hero. We have talked about it. We have gushed about this new hero yesterday, and I just can't wait to play this hero tomorrow. I'm getting him tomorrow, and it's very, very exciting. So yeah. Speaking of heroes, are there any particular heroes that you are looking forward to see today?
I was really enjoying the Zenil play yesterday. Obviously we don't have him in the EU region yet. So for me, it's very exciting to see an upcoming hero in action anyway. But he really does affect the game in a huge way. When a new hero is introduced, a lot of the time it's simply a case of learning to counter or adapt to that certain hero in a very small way, like in the laning sense, or just in a purely base level. But because of Zenil's ultimate and the effect it can have on the macro game, the bigger picture of the game, I'm really intrigued to see how teams over time, especially if they've seen how he was used yesterday, how they've adapted or they bear that in mind. Because there were so many occasions where teams were picking team fights where it was 4 versus 4, but didn't bear in mind the fact that Zenil could join that team at any point. And then we saw the team fights quickly turn around as the Zenil ultimate came in, and it was a 5 versus 4 matchup. The enemy teams, like say top laner for example, was just left way over the other side of the map, wasn't able to commit to the fight in any way, and it allowed for these huge swings in team fights and in objectives. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how people both use Zenil, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how people sort of counter him or bear in mind his presence and how they react to him being on the enemy team. So yeah, I'm kind of excited because it does create a whole more tactical element to the game and to the drafting stage as well. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah. So speaking of draft, we have seen a lot of Violet ban here and there, but in the previous rounds. But as we move on to the later stages of the league, well, not the later stages, but the recent stage of the league, we have seen teams have switch things up a little. They are not going for the automatic Violet ban anymore. They try to ban like Malok, they try to ban Choknar. So some different variation of bans that we have seen in the past 2 days, 2 or 3 days in fact. So I'm interested to see if Alpha and New Era will be changing things up as well today. Alpha, they are definitely not afraid of playing something that is not uncommon.
They're fans of the off meta.
Yeah, they're fan of meta. But I do know some of the players. Das is one of my friend. We actually met through Clash Royale, and he's one of the top player in Clash Royale as well in this region. But he has since shifted to Arena of Valor. I've been following his progress closely, and I copy his build for Lubu and Irie as well. It worked really well for me. So I'm really excited to see who's he's gonna play today. I think it's going to be either Lubu or Irie, and he played those two characters really well. But this team is definitely not a weak team. We have seen a lot of their players are top of the leaderboard in this region as well.
Wow.
So you definitely gotta see some really high quality matches. But New Era themselves are definitely table toppers as well in terms of the leaderboard, and I've seen their names everywhere, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match. Seems like all the players are ready, so I'm just waiting for I'm just gonna invite you in now.
Yep. That's fine. I'll join you shortly.
Yep.
You can't invite me, by the way. I have to go via lobby just because of my being in a different region. It won't let me due to unstable connection. But I've got the lobby link there, and I'll be joining you shortly.
Okay. So, waiting for caster. So, we shall begin very shortly. Just waiting.
There we go. It's all my fault, guys. Don't
it's okay. All right. Here we go.
He says casters, knowing full well it's just myself, pretty much. There we go. Okay, so we're into the pick and ban phase. It's going to be interesting to see, which.
Alpha is on the left side. New Era is on the red side. So
yeah.
MA Hexa Alpha will be banning first, and seems like they're going for the Narcroft ban. Oh nope, it's gonna be Chok now. So we mentioned that Chok now ban, and
yeah,
we've seen it again.
Chagna ban. I mean, I think Chagna's a very strong ban. To be fair, he just ruined so many composition goals. His ultimate basically gives his team a completely free cleanse for across the board. That stops and ruins so many hard engages for many team compositions, especially if they have like an AOV CC composition in mind. So getting rid of him straight away is gonna save them a lot of hassle. We do see a Raz pick up there. Raz's been very popular so far in the SEA region. We saw a lot of Raz play yesterday, as well as that Ari, and there's that Lubu that you mentioned, both of those potentially being picked up for Alpha, and in fact both of those have been picked up for New Era.
Oh wow, okay, so they picked up Lubu and Ari stole those characters away from my friend Das. So Das will probably play either Violet or Zephys is one of his character as well. But definitely his two main heroes have been taken away. Let's see if it will still be as effective for him. But Violet and Zephys and Raz is a good combination in my opinion. What do you think of the picks so far?
Well, in the EU region, Zephys has been extremely strong, played in the jungle. He's got one of the highest ban rates in the scene entirely. Seeing him picked up here is not a big surprise to me. Violet, obviously, we know is probably one of the stronger marksmen in the game. For the EU region, we have Violet, Talanis, and Joker. And obviously, you guys don't have Talanis just now, but we've seen Violet and Joker picked up already for these teams, so they're locking in those marksmen straight up. I like the Thane pick up here. I think Zephys has great engage, but he can be prone to becoming a little bit squishy, particularly in the early game. So I think you need that hard upfront tankiness to follow up that CC and to lock people down.
It seems like you do need another tank, right, in this composition.
Yeah, I think like someone like Malok would be great here. Zephys is filling the role of assassin in this role in this sort of play out here. You need something else that can really be a little bit more of a little bit of a bruiser. Maybe not, like a Malok and Arthur, those sort of pickups. And I think Malok is a very strong pick here. Yeah, I quite like that composition, and it makes so much more sense now seeing it why the Chagrin was banned. The Slims ban, we saw Slims picked yesterday to great effect. I like the Lumber and Jinnar pick up here. I feel the team compositions are fairly even. I've got to give it slightly to Alpha. because I really like that what they're trying to do. I can see as a team composition what they're trying to achieve. I think the New Era composition is just a very solid lineup, and I think it can go to either side here. But I do like the Alpha pickup just a little bit more because it seems to have a little bit more synergy and a little bit more of a goal-orientated focus.
Yep. So, who do you think? Which heroes do you think will be the big difference maker here in this match?
Personally, I think we want to be looking out for that Zephyrus on Dusk, definitely. Dusk has got definitely. If he can get off to a strong start on that Zephyrus and can snowball the hero effectively, I think that could be a real trouble issue for New Era. On the side of New Era, it's going to be a case of the Lubu and the Joker. I think if Lubu can sort of time his skills correctly, get the knockups, get the disrupts when needed, and maybe lock down that Raz. I think it's gonna be great, and it's also a case of New Era protecting that Joker. If they can protect that Joker well in these team fights, he has the range, he has the damage, particularly late game. He's going to do so much if Alpha cannot get on him in a reasonable way. But they do have a lot of backline CC with the Thane that can charge in, with the Malok that can dive in, as well as the Zephyrus. So it's going to be a case of how well those are utilized, I think, for the Alpha team.
Alright, so it seems like they're gonna invade each other's jungle here in the early game. And red buff going for New Era. So just to remind you guys, this is between M8 Hexa Alpha and New Era in this winners bracket final. It's the best of 3 games, and this is game number 1.
Yeah, we saw them meet there in the river. It looked initially like New Era were going to pick out part of the Alpha team, but because of Alpha sort of flanking around, it did involve Joker getting very, very low there. And to be fair, if there was one member of the enemy team you wanted to make sure got low, it would be the carry. That Vision trying to be secured there by Love is going to have to back off now, realizing he doesn't have anyone with him in this lane. We can see that we've got the duo lane has pretty much kind of dissolved already for the Alpha side, with Violet kind of going for a second sort of jungle element. Now Malok can hold lane pretty well, particularly before the siege minions come into play. So this 1 versus 2 lane isn't too much to worry about for Malok. He can literally just stay behind the turret, farm away as the lanes come in, take the vision when needed. We do see a little bit of a roam here from the Lumber towards the mid lane, but it doesn't look like he's going to actually go in. Thane we can see hiding in a bush in the enemy jungle. I think they're looking to take Spirit Sentinel potentially. It's a very, very kind of mixed batch so far. We haven't seen those initial laning phase. I think a lot of the teams here have gone, what's the laning phase? We're just going for team fights. Yeah. I did like that the early stages of the game, they basically both accepted that the enemy team were going to take one of their buffs. So they just immediately both wandered over to each other's buffs, completely uncontested, and took them. We saw a lot of that happening yesterday. When people did try to contest them, it often ended up with a 1 versus 3 scenario, and it didn't go in their favor. So I think they didn't really want to try to contest at this point. They can just transfer over, take the enemy buff, and not actually get any loss out of it in any way or form. A lot of the team right now are heading towards that top jungle. Yeah, and we do see Ari being forced to dash away. Obviously, she's a very mobile hero. One of the best, most mobile heroes in the game. Does give her a lot of the ability to kind of dash about and keep herself safe. But Joker, meanwhile, has just been left in that bot lane with that Malok just to farm away. And keep things even. So we can see the gold is very, very even in these early stages. We've had no kills, we've had no turrets. So despite all this chaos and this roaming happening and this lack of a laning phase, we've not really got anything. Nothing's come from it just yet. We did see Raz there doing a decent amount of damage to Lubu. Lubu baiting, faking the back there, and is actually going to stay in lane. But you might want to be careful because Dusk is on that Zephyrus, and Zephyrus can do a lot of damage here. He does dive in. He has got his 4, so he does have to be careful here. Rubik's there. He's feeling confident. He's just going to farm back up. He's going to take the wave and he's going to move back away. Dust Pop is restoring the process, so he's going to be okay. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we can see Thane waiting in the wings, hoping to do something. On the bottom, we have Malok, 1 versus 2 in the Lumber, and Joker, but nothing's going to come of that as Lumber roams towards that mid. Raz in a vulnerable position here. I don't know if he wants to be there. He can dash over the wall. He does, but it's not going to be enough as Jinnah does pop his the Varna doesn't actually quite connect. Neither does the lumbar ultimate. So that's 2 ultimates down for the side of New Era, which is a great trade there for just a simple dash from us.
3 against 3 situation here in the bottom lane, and they're gonna engage. Malok with the ultimate will catch Irie, and Irie goes down to Thane. Wow.
Yeah, wonderful combination there between the Thane and Malok there. Brilliant work. I mean, the good thing about Thane is that you can build him so tanky and he still does relevant damage. That ultimate, obviously, the execution element of it is amazing. And you saw just how well it combined with the CC from this team, and that's what they're looking for. And you can understand, again, you can go back to that draft, why that Chagner was banned, because that would not have worked if you had a Chagner in that scenario. The Chagner would have simply utilized his ultimate. If it was onto Chagner, he'd have simply just used his first skill, walked away, popped a heal or a restore, and that whole engage would have been completely destroyed. But without that cleanse on the enemy team, you know exactly how that's going to go down for you. I am actually quite surprised we did not see more Purifiers picked up.
Oh, look at the top. Does get into a lot of trouble here with Lubu trying to chase him down, but left with so little HP. Got lucky there. But
he did. Rubik's did great work and keeping there. I'm surprised he didn't just push in onto that turret and do as much damage as he can, but he's actually going to go take Spirit Sentinel instead. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, we can see New Era turning their attention to Abyssal Dragon. Love very aware of what's going on right now. His team will be aware, but there's nothing they can do about it. They're, in fact, on the Lubu at the top lane, and they are going to pick up Lubu by the Spirit Sentinel. There is going to be traded out for Abyssal Dragon, though, by New Era. Love is forced to just back off and clear the wave. Very aware he's probably going to have 3 or 4 people suddenly coming down to his lane. But they've actually rotated towards mid. Raz is actually on half health right now from the Ahri. And Jinnar will go back to his lane. They're now rotating towards top because there's a lot of damage coming down. And that is going to be the top turret going over to out. Yeah, the Violet doing a lot of damage there to the turret, especially teamed up with that Zephyrus. And it does mean that they now have a 2 kill advantage and the first turret. But they did trade out for a dragon on the enemy side, so the gold lead is still in favor of Alpha, but it's only around sort of about 1k, yeah. 1K. Which is still substantial at this point, especially when they're pressuring this mid turret so hard. But now Tainted is in a bad place to be. Lumber Ultimate does connect with JJC. JJC is probably the best person for Alpha to be connected with, though. We do see Raz coming in. That's a lot of damage coming over. Malok Ultimate coming down. Huge CC going across the board. Ahri being forced to use a dash, defeated for the Zephyrus there, picking up the Jinnar kill, and that is traded out by Joker, of course. But we do see now 3 members of Alpha pressuring this mid lane turret, and they are doing a lot of damage. 4 members of Zephyrus joins the rest of his team. But that's a huge knock up there from Rubik's. Heal is used by Alpha. Thane forced to back off, and they are going to manage to save this turret in the mid lane for the time being. But I don't know for how long, as it is sitting on very low health. Zephyrus is just going to rotate up and try to clear that top lane while Malok returns to bot. Very low on health is Malok, but fortunately for him, no one's near him just yet. But Joker spots him, and there's the ultimate. Wow. Easy pick up there for Warts. Obviously, Joker utilizing those skills very effectively. He has the speed up, he has the ultimate, and I'll be honest, I think that was a mistake on Malek's part to go back to lane with such low health.
A little too greedy, trying to clear the creeps and get a few hundred goals.
Yeah, he was. He could have been very. He was probably very. The Joker lane could have been pushed very carefully, but similarly, he should not have been there. If he'd have backed after that initial team fight, he probably could have been back in lane at the same time. He actually
Violet
Tainted.
Wow, yet another kill for Joker. That's gonna be his 3rd kill in the game now. They are closing in terms of the number of kills. It's 4 against 3.
Yeah, and they're all on Joker as well, and that's exactly what New Era want right now. If Joker, like I say, if they can keep Joker safe and they can keep him on the back line and he can position himself correctly in these team fights without people getting on him, it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be up to JJC and Love to land those dashes and those ultimates onto Joker. But obviously Joker with his ultimate can utilize that just for escape purposes and in the process do good damage. It does allow him to dash away quite effectively. We see it used there on Love. Love down to half health just after a few skill rotations, and towards the late game that ultimate is up so quickly for Joker. You feel like it's up every 10 seconds the way you see him dashing in and out.
Yeah.
and it can be incredibly irritating. 4 members of the New Era team grouping together very well through their jungle right now. But we see in the top lane, or near the top lane, Rubix is trying to steal the might buff. Does manage to actually get it. Dusk is going to be forced to go back to mid lane. They're rotating quickly. This Nirvana just used by Jinnar just to escape, in fact. As we see the Alpha team kind of, they smell blood and they're trying to hunt down the New Era side, but New Era keeping themselves fairly safe. This is going to leave bottom extremely vulnerable and should be an easy pickup for the Alpha team now. Nicely done there.
That's their third tower of the game, and good progress. They have the goal lead as well so far, and other than the Joker, I think they've been handling the situation pretty well. Yeah,
they did try to trade out New Era for the top lane, but we did see Dusk and Raz coming into play. That's 2 very low health people, but it doesn't matter because Ari's still going to pick up a kill. Make that 2, and that's going over to, that's actually a double kill for her. That was a great play there, both from both members of the New Era team there, Lubu and Ari. Great work, and this is going to allow them to push this turret pretty effectively. I think it should go down to minions, in fact, so they don't need to be there anymore. They're going to back off, let the minions take it, and not risk the damage coming from Violet. But she knows she's not going to get there in time. She's just going to take the Sage buff and then clear the wave. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, we did see the bot turret go down, so that's a nice trade out there with 2 turrets going down. That's going to put them on 2 turrets to 3 now, so they pulled that right back. And we can see that translate into the gold as well, 25.7 to the 25.3. So extremely close in gold now after being down 1k just a couple of minutes ago.
Yep, so teams are grouping up together. Seems like New Era is much tighter in terms of their positioning. And Alpha, they are very, very spread out. Marlock, especially in the bottom lane, all by himself. Lubu is pushing the top all by himself as well. So it seems like Alpha have been struggling to deal with the high DPS output from New Era. And who do you think will benefit from late game in this matchup?
I feel that Alpha actually will benefit more from late game because, like you said, at the moment it's high DPS, but they are going to be able to pick up a few defensive items towards the later game. Darkslayer is in fact just picked up by Violet there, so that is going to give Alpha that little bit of advantage. They are going to have to sacrifice Thane in the meanwhile, but he did a decent amount of damage there, staying alive for quite a while. Jinnar did pick up that kill for the New Era side. But if you look at mid now, it's extremely vulnerable. Malok is pushing it. It is going to force the rotation from all members of the New Era side, but they're not really aware, and they've lost the mid turret now rather quickly. If the top lane is pushing, they are going to need to answer that quickly. You can see that the Alpha team is fairly split. Raz has gone to answer that top lane. It is going to mean that there are 3 members of Alpha down the bot lane, but Malok is in a very vulnerable position here. Ari is going to dash in. Malok with the slow does have a decent amount of health regen as well, but there's a lumber to slow him down even further. Ultimate comes out from Ari, but despite the numbers, they are going to back off after they spot Tainted on that Violet. They don't want to risk an even scenario here, particularly while the enemy team have that Slayer buff still. So quite a smart choice on the New Era side.
Yep, disengaging at the right time and just backing off, absorb all this pressure, try to drag it out while they expand their Darkslayer buff. Mario at the top, Dust trying to get that Spirit Sentinel. Lubu going try to escape from this gank by Real going in with Ras. Lubu hitting him, and GGC tries to help him out. So at the top, Lubu been handling himself pretty well here. And,
yeah, I would say, to be fair, New Era are handling this situation quite well. You know, the enemy team have had Darkslayer off, and it's now actually expired, and I don't think they really got anything for that. To be fair, they are going to be pushing in this turret now, just out of sheer brute force.
Oh, great ultimate
huge
there.
Combination there from the Zephyrs, and then Thane ultimate comes down as well. Not everyone low enough to work. Heals are utilised effectively. Dust goes very low to the Joker ultimate. It's going to get away though, and we do see Jinnar pick up a kill there. Lubu diving in, doing what he can to disrupt, and Nirvana is used. Huge ultimate there from Jinnar. Is going to allow the pick up by Joker, who's now on the back line. And we do see a huge trade out of kills there from both sides, but that's me Jinnar picking up a double kill as well as Joker with the assists. Great work there. Raz did manage to secure the Ari in the process. But yeah, that was a double kill for Joker, and that is exactly what I was talking about. Joker stayed on the back line. They didn't actually get onto him very well. He's on full health. He's, he just did so much damage. He utilized his ultimate to great effect to keep himself at range. This is going to allow him to trade out and get this mid turret. I don't think there's much Raz can do about it. You saw just how much damage that one-on-one attack did to that turret. That was really well played from New Era, I've got to say. They did great to time out the Slayer buff. They took a team fight once that had expired. They didn't try to fight before that point. Yes, they did lose a turret top, but they did manage to get the turret in the mid lane to trade it out, and they did pick up a good chunk of kills in the top lane. So gold-wise, it is still in favor of Alpha, but I think New Era handled that whole situation a lot better than a lot of teams would have in that scenario.
Yeah, so still looking pretty even in terms of these two teams, as we predicted. These two teams are really close in terms of skills. Now, fight could happen here at the Abyssal Dragon area. Valiant taking yet another one, their third Abyssal Dragon kill, and bring their lead up to 3.2 thousand gold.
Yeah, like I said, these teams, you said yourself, are far more closely matched. I think you can see that in the way they're playing as a group, how well they're doing. If you look at the map right now, you can just see the mirroring almost of the teams. The group of four together, the one solo lane pushing. Both these teams, they want to have an advantage already in place if they win a team fight. So if they win a team fight, they want that bot lane pushed. We do see a huge engage there coming out from Malok. Does allow the team to run. Zephyrus does dive in, but there's no follow-up, and it's under turret. There's no disrupt on their side right now, so they can't do anything with that, and it is just going to force them to back off. Lubu, meanwhile, sorry, excuse me,
the top lane, and all by himself, and then he will get the second tier tower. And he might want to try to get in for the third one, but Zephyrus is here to try to clear the creeps before any further damage is done.
That moment when you realise that you forgot your water suddenly. But like I said, the good thing about being a play-by-play caster in Arena of Valor is there's always play-by-plays. There are always team fights, there is always action, and we can see it continuing here as the turret is the focus. That high ground turret does almost go down, but it's not quite enough, and it's still focusing team members of Alpha, and they do lose one in the process. It's only going to take a couple of crits from, that's a huge crit, from Tainted there. Tainted obviously doing some serious damage to objectives, and that does mean that if they do get the advantage to get onto the base of the enemy team, that's going to go down extremely quickly, so they have to be very wary of that right now. Lubu picking up that top turret did do a lot of work for the team. It drew the members away because they had to stop that push, and it does mean they could have potentially pushed that top high ground turret and even pushed for the win there had they not been drawn away initially by the Lubu action in the top lane. So I think it served a decent purpose. The gold lead is still quite substantial in favour of Alpha, and obviously they do have the turret advantage at this point. But it's only one good team fight away, and with Slayer about to come up, if New Era can take a good team fight here and then get Slayer and push, they could still potentially win the game here quite comfortably. It's very much within their range. Ari does use her skills to try and do some damage. We do see the Malak coming down. Is going to land onto the back line, onto the Jinnar and the Joker, which are exactly. Joker does manage to dash away though, and he is still going to be doing damage from the backline. Meanwhile, the whole team are in on the action, and Alpha are just storming one by one, taking out the New Era side. Joker, the only one alive, and with a sliver of health, this does mean that the team can either go for Slayer or they can simply just push that mid for that mid turret, and even maybe look for the win. Joker is going to be the sole defender here. And with 40 seconds on a lot of the death times, a minimum of 30, what could they do with it? Because Joker does have a decent wave cleared, but he's going against any. It only takes one hard engage coming out from Zephyrus or Malok. There's a slow from Raz.
For the kill.
That's the ultimate Malok ace, easily picked up there. And I think this is going to be game going over to Alpha, unless they seriously mess this up. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And that's going to be GG. Well played, Alpha. Great work there.
What a game by M8 Hexa. Alpha winning this game number 1 against New Era. So just a reminder, this is a best of 3 games, and that is just game number 1. Oh, I just got invited to a match. I'm sorry, but I can't join you right now. So yeah, and that's game number 1. We will join the lobby for game number 2 very shortly. Just let me inform the teams if they are ready to play the game number 2. So what's your conclusion for game number 1? Pretty even matchup, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely more even than we've seen in previous series. I think both teams played really well, and I think, like I said, it all came down to that team fight. What I would say is that what won that last team fight essentially was Malok. In that final team fight, he got right onto the back line. Jinar and Joker were on the back line, and they were completely pulled away from the rest of the team fight. It allowed the rest of the Alpha team to kind of go one by one through, you know, with a numbers advantage against the the New Era side. Joker and Jinar both ended up very low. Joker was forced to run away, and Jinar actually got killed in the process. So simply dividing that team up allowed them to get there. So this is kind of what I was saying earlier. While Joker is safe in the back line, New Era have had a really good team fight. However, I think it was really good that Alpha realized what was going on. Because had they not realized at that point, and New Era had taken that team fight, like I said, you had Slayer up, you had the ability, you had 40-second death timers at this stage. If you can get an entire team wipe in at that point, you're going to get at least 2 turrets, maybe even the win. So it was clutch that Alpha did that at that point. It was so essential that they did that, and they realized what was happening. So kudos to them for essentially realizing their win condition, and that was getting rid of Joker and dividing the enemy team, and they did it perfectly.
Yeah. So again, it's all about one good team fight to actually win you the game, especially at that stage of the match as well. Because the long death timer can really hamper all your effort that you have put in. So yeah, great team fight at the end there, like what you mentioned, and then just one push to finish it off. Alright, game number 2 is around the corner. We are inviting the players into
I'm just going to join you now as well.
I'll share with you for the lobby.
Yeah, are all the players in? Are all the players in already?
We are missing 3. So
okay, I won't jump in just yet, because every time I jump in, I end up taking one of the player slots accidentally.
Yeah,
so,
I'll let you know when everyone is in. So
that's absolutely fine.
So yeah, welcome to the Valiant Realm League. This is Open Qualifiers Group F Winners Bracket Finals. We are entering game number 2. It's the best of 3 game series, and this is between M8 Hexa Alpha and New Era. The losers of this match will meet Bloodlines in the later match. It's gonna be another best of 3 games. The winner of either of these matches will move on to the top 16 regular season stage of Valiant Realm League, and there is 1,000 Singapore dollars on the line in this tournament. So it's very exciting to see all these teams coming into the scene, into the competitive scene. The game is pretty new in this region. I would say it's about 2 months old, but teams are forming up and they are showing really high quality gameplay, and I can't wait to see how it evolves. And seems like all the players are in, and Mal, you might want to join.
Yeah, I'll join you right now.
Yep.
There we go.
Alright. We are...
Oh,
you might need to switch position with Dust.
I'll just leave the lobby and come back in.
Yeah.
Nope.
Alright.
Accept.
Yeah. Alright, you're in.
I am. What? I don't know. I can't see myself. Oh, there I am.
Yeah, I could see.
There are. Yeah, that's fine. It's not showing my spectators correctly. That's absolutely fine. As long as you've got me as correct. Yeah, there I am. I am correct. Yeah, that's great.
All right, here we go. Game number 2.
Turn to ban.
Just give me a second.
That's absolutely
All right,
fine.
so New Era will be on the blue side. They have decided they want to have the first pick, as well as the first ban at M8 Hexa Alpha. We will be on the red side of
Red team's turn
the
to
map.
ban. Blue team's turn to pick.
So, just someone mentioning how many viewers were on the YouTube. I had to inform them that it's also broadcast on Twitch and Facebook also.
Yep, that's right. On Facebook, we have about, I think we picked at 35 viewers on Facebook. On Twitch, I think there are about 15 or so viewers. So yeah, it's a little split up here and there, but we try to cover as many bases as possible. Because Facebook is really popular in the Southeast Asia region, so that's why we're trying to stream there as well. So
I really need to develop my Facebook. I've got a lot of followers on Twitch, and well, a lot of followers on my Twitter, but not on my Facebook. Meanwhile, we did see the Childner ban again and the Valiant ban time round. New Era picking up the Raz, hovering Ormar, which I think he's still a strong pick, and I think if they're going for that big team dive composition again, it's looking strong. I think we want to see a little bit more in the way of Purifiers this time round. I mean, Flicker is still a good choice for Joker, but with his ultimate, I would probably prefer him to see a Purify, so he can Purify ultimate and get himself out of dodge. Because you cannot use Flicker if you're stunned, which is what's going to happen. But it did leave the Slims open, and Tainted is going to pick up that one instead of the Violet. I don't think that there's a win scenario here for New. Tainted got Violet or he got Slims, so I don't think there's a way to win on that one. Dusk has got that Ari as well, as we see the Lumber. I'm really happy to see so much Lumber use in SEA. I really like the hero. I think he looks awesome, but he's not considered one of the stronger tanks in the EU region right now. I mean, we do, fortunately for us, have access to a couple of heroes that you guys don't have. However, one hero you do have that we don't is Zenial, and we do see that picked up there by the New side.
Let's go.
I'm very surprised that we didn't see the Zenial taken away by JJC there. Actually, you know, they had the opportunity to take the Zenial away from the enemy team with the goals that tried to beat Alice as well. I mean, again, we talked about this. We're seeing it quite happen already. We're seeing kind of a meta already of these big team fight, AOE orientated team compositions. We've got Ormar, who's going to be spinning to win. We've got Zephyrus with the dive in. We've got the Alice silence and damage. We've got the Zenial ultimate. You know, these are huge, and dash into the team fight, as well as the Raz diving in and out. This is a big team fight situation, and people are going to have to start learning how to deal with this without a Chagnar, because this is going to happen again and again if people keep finding themselves getting wins. Because, yeah, like I said, looking at it, again, we've got Joker, we've got Slims. They're two very strong heroes right now. But if they are caught in the middle of Zenial, Ormar, Zephyrus, and Alice, they are doing nothing. And Joker cannot dash away with his ultimate if he is silenced by the Alice ultimate. Also, similarly, an Alice ultimate thrown down underneath Lumber will stop his ultimate. Malok cannot heal up or utilize his shield or slow effectively if he's silenced. Slims cannot stun people if he's silenced or get away. Ari cannot dash away if she's silenced. So that AoE from Alice could be so detrimental to the enemy composition. And I've got to say, again, draft-wise, I think Alpha have it. Sorry, not Alpha have it. Sorry, New Era had it this time, whereas Alpha had the same composition last time. They've basically traded out compositions aims, I think.
Alright, seems like we have the first pause of the game from I think I missed who paused it, but yeah, and seems like we are having some issues with the team name display as well, so we are gonna turn it off for this match. So yeah, New Era is on the blue side, and M8 Hexa Alpha is on the red side. This time around they have swapped their sides, and seems like another pause here from New Era. Let's see if that will be resolved shortly, as I try to see what's the issue with our
so it just gives you time. They're basically just issues. They're being helpful. As far as the teams are concerned, we can see a lot of the New Era side have gone to the bot lane, which is completely unanswered at this point in time if they did decide to hard push. But I think they're going to be looking for that Sage buff. They do find Love in the process on that Malok. Stun from Alice is going to miss, and actually they're going to... Love on his own is going to successfully defend against the Sage Golem invade there. that isn't going to be answered by the alpha side either. So both sides just going to be utilizing their buffs and for once doing a standard jungle rotation, which we don't normally see. Although if we do look at what Joker's doing right now, and boom, yoink.
We did manage to steal that red buff. What a play by Rio on that Joker.
Yeah, that was really, really funny and sneaky. Really well timed on his part.
Yeah. He must have practiced that 1,000 of times.
Well, he was very reliant on punish not being used.
Yeah.
From the side of New Era. So yeah, had it been used, but we can see a big presence in the bot lane there for the alpha side. 4 men rotating bottom, Ari in the sole top lane there with Dusk playing it. Mid lane is currently unanswered, so Raz, can free farm, but he does have the fear that people are going to be there, and he had the correct 3 people rotated mid shortly after. We do see now Love in that 1 versus 2 lane again. We saw this happen last time. I think a lot of these situations, often you try to match up the duo lanes, and most of the time you'd want that duo lane to be on the dragon side.
Yeah.
Simply so that you can control that objective a lot better. Love caught out with 4 people around him. He knows. He tries to get away what he can, accept his fate, but he does accept his fate in the end. First blood going over to the New Era side, and they are looking for the first abyssal as well, but we do have members of the alpha side rotating bot, and that is going to be enough to drive New Era away from them as Dragon chases after alpha and says, "You're not having me either."
So first blood going to New Era, and goal difference is pretty tight as well, pretty even, and looks like New Era have opted to really reinforce the bottom lane here.
Yeah, I think New Era realizing that they want that abyssal drive, that control over that objective is what's going to get them into this game in a big way. Is going to be a big thing for them. Malok, like we saw last time, Love quite comfortable in that 1 versus 2 lane, can successfully defend it, especially prior to the siege minion appearance. That is going to mean that they have to do something with it. So they are going to be looking for team fights elsewhere on the map, but we can see that Alpha just basically spacing themselves out well, keeping themselves farming. The Lumbar's playing more of a kind of a roaming support, taking from top to bottom to mid, and just kind of not really picking a lane, in a big way. Not the traditional sort of setup that we've seen, that we can see New Era running with the Alice in the bot there. So we'll have to see how that plays out for them, because it is going to mean that Lumbar isn't necessarily getting the amount of farm that he would have was he staying in a lane.
When you play Lumber, you tend to fall behind very quickly in terms of goal accumulation, because Lumber is most effective when he's paired with someone else, and when you are paired with someone else means that your goal will be shared as well. So as we have seen, it is at 1.2k goal. Bottom here we have a lot of presence by both teams, and there might be a kill coming in right about. Oh, not yet. Lumber. Wow, Lumber goes down to Raz, but Senior going pretty low as well.
But here comes Joker. He's looking for that one.
Oh.
We do see a lot of low members of the New Era side, and that is 1 away from death for Zephys. But that's a great stun from Alice. He's going to keep him at bay. But there's the ultimate used by Joker, and he is going to pick up that kill onto Ormar as well. Zephys did actually manage to pick up the kill, but he's gone to the mid lane. He is in sight of Joker. Joker is going to try and spin himself up. I wonder if he's going to go for it. I wonder if he's just going to shoot in that bush.
Oh,
what? I feel like that just went through him.
Wow.
I'm not even going to question it. Hitbox OP. But yes, someone's probably going to clip that and send that straight through to
to Tencent and Garena.
Yeah, Tencent and Garena, and be like, guys. But yeah, Joker, when he watches this back at a later point, is going to be so annoyed by that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there is a very slim hitbox on that skill, because it is such a far range skill, and it is such it's a skill based, it is a skill shot. So I imagine if it did miss, it missed by the slimmest of margins there. But yeah, that was pretty clutch there, and a really good guess on his part. It was indeed the right push. Joker could have picked up such a sneaky kill there if he'd have managed it. That would have been quite great. We do see the Alpha side do manage to pick up the stun onto Gambit. Ultimate.
Oh, Irie at the top. We'll try to get Rubik's down. Rubik's will not escape that. Zenil going down.
Wow, so 2 kills for the Alpha side there, as well as the mid pickup on the turret. They now transition over to the bot lane where Love has gone very low, but so is Zephys, and Zephys is going lower and lower, but he is going to manage to dodge away just about. Stun does land onto Alice. We did see another pickup there by the Joker. Does mean they can push in on this turret. Joker circling around, shoots for Zephys, but Zephys this time going a little bit further away. Alice does have the ultimate on her. Heal forced out. Does mean that they have to back off, and this could be a second turret push here, as most of the team for New Era are split up, and it does mean that they can get a second turret here. Huge swing in just a couple of minutes there for the Alpha side, now putting themselves in a huge gold lead around the 5k mark, even 6k mark, at just 6 minutes into the game, and they're going to take another turret here. The dive in from Zephys isn't going to be enough to deter it, I don't think, but that does mean that Love's going very low. Lumbar ultimate is going to knock up Zephys. That turret does go down. There's a stun from Slim. Zenio ultimate coming in, huge heal there from him. Great presence. Dive does come down onto Dusk and allows the team to pick up another kill. Raz diving in onto Lumbar, does pull him back into the team. Zephys meanwhile has dived in, is stunned up immediately, and he's going to go down. And that's going to be a pickup by Alpha on that one. And that does mean that despite their low health, they managed to pick up another couple of kills. Kills were traded on both sides, but I still feel like Alpha managed to pick up an advantage in that. And that does mean that Love can transition to top, stop that wave push. And that was a huge play there for the Alpha team. In the last 2 minutes, they've jumped their gold lead by about 5k. That just shows how fast the action and how quickly these games can turn around in Arena of Valor.
Yep, such an amazing turn of events here, swinging the game to their favor here, Alpha, and they look pretty good for game number 2. They have already won game number 1 against New Era. New Era will try to bounce back here quickly, and not to drop further, as Abyssal Dragon, the second one, might go to Alpha. There we go, the kill picked up by Joker.
Yeah, a nice comfortable objective there for the Alpha side. We can see now they've got New Era on the defensive. We see another pickup there by Tainted onto the Zenio. Does force Zenio to dive away. Slim's now doing great damage. Raz in a bad position. The silence immediately put underneath him to try and protect him. Lumbar ultimate does come through, but it isn't going to connect quite enough. Big ultimate coming down from all sides now. This huge team fight, but everyone's going low, but no one's going down. Is it going to be the first kill going over to JJC, or is it going to be... Oh, JJC doesn't go down quite yet. Lumbar is still alive. Raz does pick up a kill though. Oh no, he does go. Oh, he did go down. Take that back. I thought he stayed alive, but no, he managed to. He did go down in the process, Raz. But it did mean that the Alpha side could rotate towards that top lane and pick up yet another turret now.
It seems
6th
like
of the game.
They're gonna go for the Dark Slayer buff now. Great opportunity here, as New Era is trying to clear all the creeps around all 3 lanes, and now Dark Slayer buff will be MAX Alpha's.
Yeah, this is a bit of a workshop in dominance by the Alpha side here. If you look at the scoreline, you can see they've got 2 Abyssal Dragons to the 0 of the enemy team. They've got the Darksayer buff to the 0 of the New Era team. They've got 6 turrets to the 0 of the New Era team. This is just great objective play coming out of the Alpha side this time. They're obviously feeling very confident after their win in the previous game, but they've come out of the gate straight away. And I said earlier that I felt that the drafting and the team composition of the New Era side was actually better this time round. And I agree, it still is better, but it seems to be far less effective in countering what we're seeing here. And what we saw Alpha do in the previous game, which was get onto the back line and take out the Joker, and what was then Violet, and now it's the Slims. We're not seeing that happen from New Era. They're not getting to the Joker. I mean, look at Joker's positioning right now. He's just ultimate in, he dives at backline. He's still got 3 people in between him and the enemy team. And again, he's just there, he's going to shoot in, just dive in and use the heal, keep himself alive. Again, they're under turret. There's another ultimate from him and another kill picked up by Joker. And this is just great play from Alpha in peeling and keeping the carry alive. Joker's sitting there like now, like, guys, I'm kind of stuck. Can you guys put a minion wave here for me, please? Thank you. Now I can kill this turret as well. Yeah, bad position to be in, but luckily there was no one alive to take them out, and it does mean that's another 2 high ground turrets taken out, and this is going to be an 11-minute game by the looks of it, because in comes the wave, and they've got all members up though. I don't know. Okay, maybe they're not going to push in. They don't want to get too greedy. They're pushing all the turnaround, but with so many turrets up, even if they lost that team fight, I don't think they could lose the game. But they just don't want to get them back in the game. They're not gonna risk it. 13-6 in kills. They've got all the turrets. They've got all the buffs. They've got all the abyssal dragons. They're not gonna risk. They don't want their perfect performance so far to go amiss. I mean, admittedly, they've died 6 times. You know, feeders. But
they got a huge goal lead as well. So I think they're just taking it slow. Try to just choke New Era to death here in this game number 2, and it seems like they are very effective in doing so.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy, actually, saying choke them to death, because this is like the slow starvation of New Era. They cannot leave their base. They cannot do anything, and they're just going to have to turtle and defend as best they can. But even now, Slims is still picking up kills onto the Alice, and without that AoE silence, that's going to really give a lot of problems for New Era as trying to defend this engage now, as all of the members swarm in, along with the siege minions. That's a good ultimate coming out from a lot of the team members now. Ormar is in the middle, spin to win as best. Slims picking up that kill does mean that that's going to be another kill going over to him as well. Double kill, maybe not the mega kill that we saw yesterday, but still a lovely ending to the game. And that's going to be a very, very dominating performance and a very confirmed game for the Alpha side. So GG to both teams, but brilliant performance there by Alpha.
Yeah, so we thought it would be a very, very close game. I thought game 1 was much closer, but game number 2, Alpha just crushed it against New Era. So congratulations to MA Hexa Alpha. They have advanced to the top 16 regular season. And New Era, they still have another chance, so they will play Bloodline next. And so yeah, we will try to get those 2 teams into the lobby very, very soon, but we'll go for a short break. My name is Chisin. I am the organizer and the host for Valiant Realm League, and I have Mal here with me, great shoutcaster here. You've been listening to his voice, and yeah, so Mal calling all the way from UK, shoutcasting these matches. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be right back in about 5 minutes. So Mal, are you okay with that?
Yep, sounds good to me. I'm looking forward to the next series.
Alright, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, welcome back guys to the Valiant Realm League Open Qualifiers Group F, and we are now in the losers bracket finals. Previously we have seen the winners bracket finals between M8 Hexa Alpha against New Era. M8 Hexa Alpha managed to beat New Era 2-0. It was a pretty tight game in game number 1, and game number 2 it was a pure dominance by M8 Hexa Alpha. And then I will shortly be joined by my co-caster Mal. He's calling all the way from UK. Hey, what's up? We are back, and we're just waiting for the players to join the lobby. We are missing 2 right now, and it's gonna be between New Era and Bloodlines. I think these 2 teams know each other pretty well, and I can't wait to see the match between them. New Era showed that they can put up a really good fight, as we have seen previously, but unfortunately they fell short against Alpha. Alpha showed that they were the better teams today, and they will move on to the top 16 stage of Valiant Realm League. Just a reminder, there is 1,000 Singapore dollars prize pool in this league, and this is just the open qualifiers. We'll move on to the top 16 regular season on the 24th of January, and then after the regular season, which will be a round robin, a group round robin. So if it's the 16 teams, we will split into 8 teams per group, and then they will play the teams in their same group once, and then the top 4 teams will move on to the playoffs. Winners bracket, and the 5th and 6th team from each group will move to the losers bracket. A little confusing, but if you follow us on our tournament link below in the description, you will find out more about it. If you're on Twitch, you could actually put an exclamation mark and bracket. You should be able to receive a link as well to our tournament page. Over there, you can explore more on what's happening, what's going on, and the schedule for Valiant Realm League if you're interested in following us. So yeah, this is for the Southeast Asia region. More specifically, it's for the Malaysia, Singapore, and Philippines server. We are intending to release the North American region league as well. We did secure the sponsorship for the North American side of the league, and I can't wait to announce that later on. So yeah, that's our expansion. Very early, but North America did get
Okay, I'm Joe. I'm just letting everyone know that the OBS has crashed. We'll soon find out. I think Facebook was lagging behind slightly. The other, because everything I've got all 3 of things up right now, and they're all on different timers, which is hilarious. But should be okay so far. I'm just going to check that, see if we're up and running on the. We're still showing as offline on the Twitch at the moment.
Let's see if Facebook is still alive.
Red team's turn to ban.
Facebook's looking fine,
Blue
I
team's
think.
turn to pick.
But yeah. Oh well, I'll talk through it just in case we are live. So far we saw the Slims ban, so very marksman focused ban here. Obviously that does mean that Chalgner is now open as well. It's been a consistent ban throughout. Fennec being the next option, so Fennec and Joker expect to be picked up here as marksman. I'd be surprised if we didn't see a Joker pick up here. Or Valheim potentially, but Valheim is particularly immobile and doesn't do the damage early that we can see from a Joker. There's the Chalgner pickup. Obviously, we did expect Chalgner to be picked up this game after such a long period of being banned out in games. He makes a lot of sense, and he's going to ruin the day for a lot of CC compositions. And after what we've seen in the previous games, obviously with Alpha and their CC compositions, as well as New Era. New Era are going to want to make sure they take that away from the enemy side.
So yeah, looking looking like it's gonna be a Malok pick here by Bloodlines. Of course, we have not. You have personally not seen Bloodlines play, and I've seen a couple of their matches. They do try to dominate the match in early games, and then all the way through. And it will be interesting to see how they match up against New Era. New Era, they seems pretty strong in early game as well, as we have seen in the previous 2 games.
Yeah, no, New Era did indeed put up in the previous things, but I think they just got the snowball from Alpha was just so strong in the final game, particularly. If they can stop that happening to them this time, they have a good composition so far. They have good synergy. We saw some really good team play coming out from them. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can kind of shrug off their previous defeat and come into this game against Bloodlines feeling a little bit fresher. We do see a Praetor being hovered here. I love Praetor personally to watch. When played well, Praetor is extremely dangerous, but he's very immobile. So it's going to be interesting to see as versus a Natcroft versus a Chalgner who's going to allow that Natcroft to get towards that backline CC3. And with the Zenio as well, and Raz and Joker, all very, very, very mobile. I don't know how confident Praetor's going to feel about surviving very long. He does have a decent amount of heal. He does have the Lumber. He does have Malok. He does have Alice to help him along the way. But I don't know if Praetor was probably a better option here. Something a little bit more mobile might have been a better option. When you guys get L'Oreal eventually, she will be loved by you, because I'm seeing so many high mobility heroes, and she's probably one of the most mobile mages you're going to find in the game. I do think that after what we've seen in previous compositions, if Raz had not been picked up in the end there for New Era, Raz would have really worked well in place of Praetor, because they need someone that can get out of dodge. And I feel that the Raz would have been bad, but there's so much mobility on the side of New Era, it's going to be really difficult for them to lock down, the New Era side. But we'll see. If Alice can get her silence in the right places and Malok can get the engages, we could see some really, really good AoE situations here, especially tied in with that Fennec ultimate as well. It's going to be interesting. I've not seen Bloodlines play. I'm hearing good things. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top after this first game.
Yep.
Do you see people going towards their lanes now?
So this is the losers bracket finals for Group F, Valiant Realm League Open Qualifiers. The winner of this match will move on to the top 16. This is a best of 3 games. This is game number 1 between Bloodlines and New Era. New Era lost against F8 Hexa Alpha in the winners bracket final, so they have dropped down to the losers bracket final to meet Bloodlines.
Yeah, so we see the might buff taken away by here with the invade. Meanwhile, in the top, we did see similar happen there with Yats on that Fennec taking away the might buff here. So again, just kind of an automatic acknowledgement that the enemy are going to try to invade. We're not going to stop it. We're just going to take away their buff and even it up. In the top lane, we do see Zenial just doing what he can, just keeping the wave at bay. It's interesting seeing the Zenial top play. Obviously, Zenial designed to be a support character, more support character, but he's working so well in these solo lanes for 2 reasons. One, his damage stays extremely relevant because of his passive, which allows him every 3rd attack to do significant damage based on percentage of health, his percentage of health. So if you're stacking health-based items, you are going to actually do significant damage still if you can land those auto attacks. That keeps him relevant damage-wise despite building tanky. Secondly, obviously, by being in the solo lane and you having that ultimate, he can literally leave someone in the top lane and join his team at any stage. So he can push that wave, then join his team. Here we do see a engage coming out from the enemy side, but nothing's really going to come of it. Raz does do a decent amount of damage to Malok. Malok landing the slow onto Natcroft. But Natcroft fairly good at dodging out of it. Praetor with those telltale, that telltale damage. If that does land, it's going to do serious damage. However, against the mobility of the enemy team, I don't think it is going to land without the CC of his teammates. That's the problem with Praetor, unfortunately. He does do a lot of damage when he lands his skills, but there's a big, it's very obvious when he's using his skills, and you can get out of dodge very quickly. We do see a very sneaky Abyssal Dragon here being picked up at just the 2.5 minute mark. Chagna is gonna pick it up. No, Fennec picked it up.
Yeah.
Fennec picked it up.
Fennec
Fennec picked it up.
Fennec did.
I thought, I was just gonna say that was really good use of punish there by Chagna would have taken that. That was very clutch on his part, but yeah, no, the punish does mean that Fennec does secure that quite convincingly. Sage Golem now trying to be taken by Lumber. Lumber doing what damage he can. Doesn't really have any, but he's trying to do what he can. Yats is going to come take over and kill it in 3 seconds instead. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we do see that Malok and Zenial are trading out a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, the New Era side are just going about their business. Joker in that bot lane, pretty much being able to push that wave in fairly convincingly, does mean he's got a decent chunk of damage on that bottom turret while all this was going on. So that turret is down to half health already. Now with Chao kind of rejoining him in the bot lane, they're going to have to be very careful that this doesn't become something of a serious situation for Alice. We do see that in the mid lane, Fennec right now and Lumber waiting in, they're waiting in the wings. Ultimate does get used by Lumber, but it doesn't actually connect. Raz does dodge out of the way, uses his ultimate to get out of the way, dodging every which way he can, does manage to avoid everything in the process. Zenial does come down to join him, and suddenly there are 5 people in the mid lane. This is the advantage of having that Zenial. Fortunately for him, for the Bloodline side, Malok is in present as well, so they've got all of their members as well in this mid lane as they start circling the fight. Realizing nothing's going to come of it, we see Malok immediately go back to that top lane, immediately start clearing that wave and start pushing something in. Spirit Sentinel is going to be taken by the New Era side. Spied out by Lumber there. They're not going to try to challenge for it. But if we look towards that bot lane, there's a little bit of a wave and there is a Joker, and this could be an easy pickup here as he starts dealing damage to it. There is an Alice coming to answer it. If she clears that wave quickly enough, she might get it done, but I don't think it's going to be enough. That's going to be a blue tower picked up by the Joker in the bot lane, and this is the hazards of everyone roaming and then not fighting or doing nothing with it. You've put yourself out of position, you've left yourself vulnerable, but you've not secured any objectives or kills as a result of it. And this is the downside, especially leaving that Joker in the bot lane to just farm away, and that's going to give them a slight gold lead. Not too much, only about like 800 gold at this point in time, but we have no kills on the board. So right now that objective does count for a lot, and it, Joker being in that bot lane, able to just farm and clear away as best possible is great. Abyssal Dragon has been started and challenged for, and it does end up getting picked up by the red side. I don't know. We're going to find out. Red side. First blood finally picked up there by Fennec. Does mean that people are getting low. Ooh, Walt's getting extremely low there on that Joker. Does use his skills to his advantage, but this is a dominating performance now coming out from the Bloodline side as they storm in. They are all healthy, but despite that, that is going to be a bit late. Yeah,
they're going to get out now. Zenial.
Yeah, they really wanted to finish.
Malok
dodge. But Malok's having to rotate top because he spotted Zenial go in there. Does mean he has to go up there to answer that as well. Otherwise, that is going to be another push coming out from the New Era side. So, very, very close game so far. We've seen Turret and Abyssal Dragon for the side of New Era, but we've seen the first kill going over to the Bloodline side. So, not too much in it at this point in time, but obviously a clear advantage for New Era as far as objective.
Yep, so clear advantage from the New Era side, and Ras just fending off Preta here in the mid lane, as we mentioned. Preta not a very mobile character here. Oh, but Ras that did manage to get hit there by Preta's ability. So yeah.
It's like I said, Preta is going to struggle he's going to be great in team fights, absolutely amazing in team fights where there's so much chaos and there's so much CC. He's going to be able to land all of his skills so effectively. But when one-on-one and dueling against such a high mobility team, people like Braz, you're just not going to hit anything.
Oh, no. 1717, getting really close there and managed to escape. Wow, that was so unfortunate for Bloodline.
That's a very low Fennec there. Does manage to dodge. This does leave Abyssal Dragon open with Bloodlines, knowing that the only person with punish on the enemy side has backed off right now. So this is quite an easy pickup for them. Although Joker is going to try and do what he can, isn't quite enough. That's good damage coming down onto Lumber. but he's gonna just get a heal from his team and walk away. And that's really good play there by the Bloodline side to manage to secure that Abyssal Dragon. Obviously, paying really good attention as well to the point that they just got Fennec very low, forced him to back off, and there was no punish available for the New Era side. So that's a really intelligent play there coming out from Bloodlines. But this is a very, very low turret in mid. And it does mean that there's going to be a lot of attention needed here to is it itch or ish?
Yeah, itch. It should be itch.
Itch. Yeah, it's like one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, we see that Praetor, he's going to get really great in the late game, and like I said, in these team fights, but right now we've not seen too much of him coming into action. In the top lane, we do see a little bit of back and forth, especially with Alice now joining her teammate Fennec in the top lane, but Natcroft and Lumbar are just going to back off. We do see a lot of the team about. There's a lot of damage coming down onto Zenial. Zenial keeping them at, sorry, onto Malok, apologies, from Zenial, but keeping Malok at bay. Malok sitting on around half health. Raz trying to do what he can to damage it. We do see Spirit Sentinel picked up as well. It's going to keep several members very healthy right now. Rubik's does go out. That's a huge amount of damage that just came out onto the side there. We did see a blue turret destroyed in the meanwhile in the mid lane. Natcroft picking that one up. This does mean that Rubik's and 404 are on the way top, and this is a vulnerable position for Malok to be in. I think he's going to go down, but he's going to try and pick up a kill in the process, and he does manage to pick up the Fennec. That's huge for Malok. It looked like he was going to go down there several times. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we do see Alice now being on Natcroft. Gambit did go very low in that period of time, but didn't matter because 1717 is going to pick up that kill regardless. And now they're going to turn their attention towards Slayer potentially. This is looking dangerous. They thought about it. They thought about Slayer. You could see them consider it and then realize how split their team were. They might go for Abyssal instead. At this point in time, it is very open, and they do have the numbers advantage, but they don't decide to go for it. I think they're going to kind of take the buffs and look towards top. We can see that Chalgner is pushing that wave pretty effectively. Looking at the Chalgner build, he's gone for the early Phoenix tier. We did see that nerf in the last patch over on EU, which I imagine is a similar situation for yourselves. It's probably a similar sort of stats, but it's still such a great sustain item as far as keeping you healthy in the stages. He's also gone for a little bit of team defense there as well, making sure that his team have got that little bit more in the way of support. So pure all-out utility at this stage. And we did see the top lane going down there. A double kill, meanwhile, is going down for Zenial in the bot lane. Huge plays coming up from him, and Natcroft there is going to go very low in the period of time as well. But good plays all around from Zenial there. Does mean that the New Era side can push hard on this bot lane, and it does with a decent wave and only a Praetor to answer. He can clear that wave pretty well, but it should be enough to keep it alive, but I don't know how healthy that turret's going to be by the time it's done. Meanwhile, we did see another turret going down in the mid era hard right about now, doing great work as they pick up their 5th turret of the game. New Era really doing great work at this point in time, and you can see them setting up a death bush. They're waiting. Praetor though, with the skill into the bush.
Them with their skill.
That's a lot of damage that came down onto Gant. Because there comes a Zenial, but then he does go down regardless. Defeated. Praetor picking that one up. Does mean that this can carry on. Malok doing what he can on the front line to slow and stop the enemy team doing again. He does manage to get a decent chunk of health back. There's the shield prop from Alice as well. Joker dives in, uses the ultimate, doesn't do the damage. He's very low. Malok right now does keep himself alive regardless, but all 3 members of the enemy team Bloodlines, of New Era getting very low there is going to mean that everyone has to back off, because in the bot lane you've still got Natcroft pushing that wave effectively. Lumber having to go down to answer that one right now, as well as Malok. Wow, everyone got so low in that team fight, and yet no one managed to die. That was pretty crazy there. But that could have been disastrous for either team at this stage in the game. You know, death timers are not the biggest they're going to be, but they're long enough that you can get some decent objectives with it, and it can really swing the game in your favor. Now, both teams are kind of very weary of what's going on. They're all very weary that Abyssal Dragon is up. They're going to hide in the bush here for Bloodlines, and they're just going to pick this Dragon up nice and quickly. We've got all 5 members available. Abyssal Dragon can go down nice and quickly, and it does mean they can rotate themselves straight towards mid. There is going to be a slow available from 404 that should keep Joker alive. Joker's going to try and take a stage, got him on his way out, and he's going to succeed because he's being joined by the rest of his team right now.
New Era's pretty split though, like Nakrov and the rest of the team.
Yeah, I would say that Nakrov can get across the map fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see just how quickly he's joined his team because they're trying to sneak themselves a Darkslayer right now. And this is great work because we do see Zenial and Raz keeping the enemy at bay. They're in the jungle right below Darkslayer to make sure that they're spotted out. Nakrov can dash over the wall, but that's an easy Darkslayer pickup for them. So great plays on their part. I mean, there's been 4 Abyssal Dragons going over to the side of Bloodlines, but that Slayer pickup for New Era is really going to put them in a commanding position at this stage. Obviously, they've got about a 5, nearly 6k gold lead, so they do need to take advantage of this Darkslayer if they want to make sure that Bloodlines cannot pull themselves back into the game in any way or form. So they need to do something with this Darkslayer buff, and they're already acting on it, taking out that top lane. They're not going to be able to. Bloodlines aren't going to be able to answer that in particular. Joker, though, is going to be the focus, and he is looking pretty good right about now. I do think the Lumbar needs to be in front of his team a little bit more at this point in time. You saw just how much damage came out onto Praetor there just from one shot from Raz. We need to see that Lumbar and that Malok front line come into action here. This is a good opportunity. Down comes the Malok. Where's the follow-up? There is none, because that's going to allow the red side to take out the mid turret. Zenial is going to come down. That does huge work for them, keeping the carries alive, and that's another pickup, another 2 pickups in fact for the New Era side. Great work there. We did see the Malok engage, but I feel like there just wasn't the level of follow-up you would expect from that point in the game. I don't know if that was miscommunication on the Bloodline side or not. But now it's up to New Era. It's their game to lose as they push in. They have got a little bit of minions, and that's going to be enough to take out the turret. And that's going to be the first game of this series going over to New Era. GG both teams.
GG to both teams, Bloodlines and New Era. But New Era takes game number 1 in this best of 3 series in the losers bracket finals. So we will hop into game number 2 shortly as the team try to recover from that first game. It was a pretty tight game. In the first 9 minutes, we have only seen like 2 kills from both teams.
Yeah,
pretty surprising. But yeah, in the end, New Era came up top, and they look pretty good in this match. What's your verdict from that?
Yeah, I think just like you said, New Era, once they started getting rolling, they didn't take their foot off the gas. They kept it going. They powered through. Every time Bloodlines took something or got a kill, it was answered back, often twofold by the New Era side. So I think New Era just really found their footing. Early going, it looked like it could go either way. And to be fair, even in towards those later stages, Bloodlines, they still had taken 4 Abyssal Dragons. The gold lead had become really substantial by the end of the game, but it did skyrocket over that last sort of 4 or 5 minutes by a very substantial amount. 5 minutes prior to that, the gold difference was way smaller. I'm interested to find out what is the current win rate for Zenial, because I'm pretty sure nearly every team that's had a Zenial on its side in the series that we saw yesterday seems to have won. Because right now, I just don't think there's the strategy in place to answer it. I just honestly don't. There's so many times where Zenial's coming in and it's the clutch saves, the 5 versus 4 team fights, that AOE damage. It's just not answerable at this point in the game. There is no teleport option. There is no from that can be answered from the enemy team. There's no teleport talent in this game. So I do feel like with the lack of other full map skills available to teams, it's extremely difficult to answer. And I think it means that the enemy team have to consistently be aware that no matter what the position they're in, they can always be against one more person. And it's very difficult to get out of that mentality when you're used to playing as a team and you see a 5 versus 3 scenario. You can take that, or a 5 versus 4 scenario, but then suddenly out of nowhere it's a 5 versus 5 scenario and you're all on low health and the person you were focusing is somehow still alive because of Zenial, and now it's a 5 versus 5 scenario and you're all on quarter health.
And you provide the buff as well, so
yeah, it does. So this is what I mean, and the heal as well is substantial. I do definitely feel that without I think there's definitely some level of analysis needed on the side of teams. Maybe if they have coaches, etc., they're going to have to work together in order to find out how to answer this, or simply just ban it out. I personally think that Zenial is worth a ban at this stage in the game. I would rather deal with a Childnut. I would rather deal with a Violet because I know how to deal with them.
Yeah.
I don't know how to deal with a Zenial if I'm looking at this. If I'm looking at these team compositions right now,
because it gets a little unpredictable when he will come in, when he will not come in.
Yeah, exactly. It's so. I mean, he can be on low health back and then ult into his team.
Yeah, the unpredictability is the pain point when playing against Zenial, because you want to make sure that because you have vision. If you have vision over the map, right, and then suddenly he just pops out and suddenly all your vision is just for nothing, you know. So yeah, I think that's a really good point on why Zenial is such a great hero in especially it's been released in the Southeast Asia region. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm just putting you in lobby now.
Yes, but you need to switch swap place because we are still missing one player.
Okay, I'll just leave.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just leave and I'll rejoin in a minute.
Yeah.
That's the way of doing it. If I can leave. It's not letting me leave right now. There we go. Yeah. But yeah, I'm so excited to play Zenial. I'm a supporter. I'm going to have my gold waiting for this guy to come out. And then I'm going to climb all the way to Master with him because no one knows how to. That's going to be basically my plan when he comes out for a year. It's probably towards the end of the month or next month or something. But yeah, I do definitely think he's ban worthy point in the game just because there isn't an answer. There will be an answer, there will be a strategy, there will be a way to get around this for sure. It's just going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of practice, a little bit of forethought from these teams, a little bit of coaching on how to deal with these scenarios. You know, but at this point in time, I just don't feel that because he's so new to the game, people haven't come up with these strategies just yet.
Yeah. All right, you can join the lobby now.
Okay.
And
I'm just joining it. There you go.
All right. So let's see.
Go for it.
All right, let's hit the start button.
Blue team's turn to
And
ban.
New Era is leading by 1-0. This is the best of 3 series. And Bloodlines keeping their spot on the blue side, and New Era is on the red side.
Yeah, we do see the Joker ban there. Personally, I feel like with what I've been seeing as far as the compositions are concerned, I do feel like Joker is probably more ban worthy than Violet in as far as the compositions are concerned, just because of his mobility. Obviously, you have got the role on Violet, but I feel like Joker just does so much with his speed up. He can chase you down so much quicker. I mean, it does leave Violet open. It's going to be a Violet or a Slims ban there. Right now, I would take Zenial. You've got 2 picks here. One of them Zenial, because it's like I said, it's a confident pick. You know, it's a strong pick all round, and you do know as well that there is no answer. So you're not putting yourself at a disadvantage by picking him, because it just means that, you know, picking a Chagna maybe is probably second best thing, but I would say now you're going to see Zenial picked up over on the Bloodline side, I would imagine. If they do not take it, having both Chagna and Zenial on the enemy side is going to be huge for New Era, and I would say that alone would give them the advantage in the draft here.
Alright, so Fennec and Chotna being picked up by New Era, Alice and Lubu. So they're not going for the Zenial pick yet. Oh, are they going for Kali? Have you tried Kali?
I've tried Kali. I think she's a mage that skill and she's extremely late game. I would personally, if they're thinking about taking him, I would go against it. I would disagree with taking that pick, just because the games are not lasting that long, and with how fast the action is, she's just a free kill in those early stages if she doesn't play safe. The Alice pickup and the Lubu particularly, you know, is a great strong hero. He's a great strong warrior. He's been in a good position pretty much since the game came out in our region, and going to be in a similar position for yourself. He's just one of those all-round decent heroes, and if played well, can really do some serious disruption to the enemy team. The Wukong is a really nice pick as well. We haven't seen much Wukong play.
Yeah.
And neither have we seen much Arthur play, which has surprised me quite a bit because we see a lot of Arthur in the EU region as far as the ladder is concerned. Arthur is probably the most picked warrior, I'd probably say, across the board from what I've encountered. I'd be interested to find out the specific stat.
We see more Thane than Arthur in this region as well.
We see a lot of Thane, but it's played in the support role as pure tank rather than the warrior solo lane.
Yeah.
And John Allen in the we've just been discussing this. He's probably too strong. But that said, no team picked him.
Yeah, no
team picked him.
What a surprise!
Yeah, I mean, I like Arthur a lot. He's probably my most played hero. However, a Zenial and a Chalgner on your team is just so much protection for your carries. I'm very surprised they didn't decide to pick him up and play him in the solo lane, especially with just how effective he was in the previous game. Arthur, a very strong engage, very strong warrior, does a lot of damage as well. Kilgroth, we don't see a lot of Kilgroth being played as a general rule, but he can be very strong. The chase down on him is extremely powerful. 1v1, he can do a serious amount of damage in these dual sort of situations. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes into play in the team fight, though.
All right.
Definitely both strong compositions, though.
I'm gonna call you again because you're breaking up a little, so we'll be joined by Mal very shortly. Yeah. All right. So.
Get ready. Minions will be deployed in 5 seconds.
All right, here we go. Bloodlines against New Era, game number 2. Mal, are you back?
I am back. Am I still breaking up?
Yeah, much better now.
Much better. Well, okay. I blame Discord.
Yeah, Discord's. It's Discord's fault.
It's all Discord's fault. It's not mine in any way or form. We do see the New Era team grouping well together in these early stages. They invade onto the Might Golem in the top. We do see that the Bloodlines team have done exactly the same, and they've found themselves a Wukong in the process. But they're not going to pay him too much heed at this point. They're just going to take the buff and get themselves out there. Violet is going to be doing what she can in the jungle. That's going to be an interesting route to go. Violet jungle, having the enemy jungle is going to get off to a seriously early advantage. Lubu is kind of going to I think he's kind of protecting the top lane at this point in time. We've seen this very, it almost appears disorganized sort of lane situation from the team so far. Throughout multiple series where people are not sticking to the traditional lane setup. I mean, is this something you encounter in ladder? Is this a regular occurrence in the SEA region?
No, actually, I think it's. I mean, I haven't seen much of the ladder, the rank, in the higher level, above platinum and what not. But from what I've seen in Valiant,
you mean you're not Conqueror?
I'm not, unfortunately.
You lied to me. I thought you were a pro player. No. I was going to say, I think, it's almost organized chaos in these early stages of these games. In the bot lane, we do see a lot of damage coming down onto Kilgroth, and he is going to go down. First blood is going to go over to 404 on that Chalgner. And that's a nice easy pickup for New Era. That's exactly what they want at this point in the game. I mean, Kilgroth, I don't encounter him a lot. He's a hero that I probably need to have a little bit more knowledge of, if I'm honest. But he isn't a very OTT meta hero in the EU region. He can be very strong. He does require a little bit of ramping up. And like I say, in a duel scenario, he does a lot of damage. He's extremely mobile. He can chase you down very well. I don't know how effective he's going to be in team fights, particularly if New Era do exactly what they're doing in keeping him at bay. He is playing the solo lane, so he's just going to kind of clear the wave as best he can. Completely unaware that right now New Era have taken away his might buff. Well, the Bloodlines might buff. But he's very aware of it right now as he meets Arthur in the bush. Arthur doing a little bit of damage, going to force restore out of both members of the team as the rest of Bloodlines slowly collapse onto the bot lane. New Era spotting them out, do keep themselves in safety behind their turret. Meanwhile, we do see Fennec up in the jungle is going to take his Sage buff and just keep clearing the jungle. In the top lane, we did see Rubik's on that Wukong taking a decent amount of damage there from Lubu, but he's going to keep himself safe. He does pop his restore, or actually no, I think he just took the turret restore. In the bot lane though, the first Abyssal Dragon is always one of the key points here. We do see a good amount of damage coming down. There is variety. We do see the punish being used effectively there by Fennec. That's a huge engage coming out from the Bloodlines team. A lot of people going very low now. as the full level 4's R from 4 action. Nirvana is used to try and do as much damage as they can to the Vi, but Violet is going to dash out of the way, do what they can. They're still slowed down. Arthur managing to pick up that kill. Meanwhile, we do see Chandler chase down that Lubu and pick up a kill in return. That's a triple kill coming out for Jinnar, in fact. Wow, huge plays there, and a massive pickup for Jinnar. It's exactly what you want. Your carry's getting triple kills at the 3-minute mark. You couldn't ask for anything more, especially after managing to secure an Abyssal Dragon in the process. That's brilliant play there for the New Era side.
Yep, definitely. Within the first 4 minutes, they have 5 kills, and they are leading by almost 4,500 goals already, and looking pretty good.
They are leading by more K in gold than there have been minutes in the game.
Yeah.
There's only 4 minutes of the game in, and they're winning by 5k gold. That's impressive. Yeah, like I said, the lanes have been borderline non-existent throughout the whole of this game. It's like I said, it's almost like organized chaos from the side of New Era, because it's clearly working for them. And we saw in the previous game that Bloodlines tried to adhere to the standard laning, and because of the success of maintaining the, pressure in the lanes and avoiding any early push from the from the Bloodlines side, it meant that New Era could just do what they wanted. They roamed about the map, they picked up these kills here and there, and then just transferred those kills into objectives when they knew they had the team advantage. So it's going to be it's really interesting to see how New Era are basically forcing the Bloodlines team to play on their books, by their methods. And I think Bloodlines are probably feeling very uncomfortable right now, the fact that they're having these 1 versus 2 lanes, these roaming ganks coming out from anyone and everyone. Like right now, we do see a huge engage coming down bot. Silence was used, but Kilra going very low and dies, in fact, very quickly. The rest of his team weren't in a position to help him. Fennec picking up that kill there. I was going to say he died very quickly there, but I realized it was the Fennec proc that did manage to do that. The Fennec ultimate used to keep the enemy Bloodline side at bay. Almost still there from the Raz, but it wasn't enough, as the Abyss Dragon is picked up the second of the game for the New Era side. But they're not done yet, as they engage hard onto Raz. Raz does try to flicker away, but it is going to go down to the Arthur. Arthur, obviously with so much chase, so much damage, does mean that getting away from him can be an absolute nightmare. And New Era are now going to transfer that into another objective and take that bot turret. So extremely good objective focused play there from New Era, doing great work. In the top lane, we do see a bit of a trade going out, but that's going to be some turret shots going in your way.
Oh no! Wukong did manage to get a kill. That was so close.
Rubik's got so greedy there on the Wukong. He had to know that he was in vision the second he got underneath that turret. And as soon as he started, he had Disrupt. I would have totally been behind that play if he had Disrupt. He did not have Disrupt. And now there's an Arthur chasing after Yate. But Yate, very mobile on that. Lubu is going to manage to get themselves to safety. And they're just going to clear this top wave and push it back out again. Meanwhile, we do see Spirit Sentinel being taken by Jinnar, and Arthur now coming down to help them out a little bit as well. I don't know, that Spirit Sentinel got pulled just a little bit too out of range and has reset. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, all the 3 members of Bloodlines have been grouped. Kilroth in that bot lane is pushing it up, doesn't know where the enemy team are, and backs off, smartly so, because there is an Arthur waiting in the wings that is going to come back to answer that in that bot lane. And now if we look towards the top, Lubu, you think he's caught our position, but then he moves halfway across the map in 2 skills. Because he's Lubu. And Lubu always safe, basically, until he's not, which is going to be about now, because I know that Rubix wants that kill. Rubix is feeling sore from that last engage, but there's a really good siege defense coming out from the side of Bloodlines here. I think this is still going to go down because Fennec has decided to put in an appearance and he's going to do a lot more damage to that turret. They're now going to roam, and I do think that Abyssal is about to come up. I wonder if they're aware of that. Arthur and one other person could easily come to take that fairly quickly, but Arthur right now, he's got his eyes set on Kilroth, and Kilroth does heal up pretty well, and he's doing a lot of auto attack damage now. I don't know if Arthur actually wants that fight right now. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we do see them thinking about doing Darkslayer, but they're taking a lot more damage than they'd like, and the whole of Bloodlines are suddenly very aware of what's going on. In the bot lane, Arthur started that fight, but now he's behind his turret, and Kilroth is looking very healthy. So I don't think he wanted that.
I think 1v1 Arthur against Kilgrove is not ideal for Arthur. So that was probably, I'm not too sure why he even tried to engage there.
Now Kilgroth is a very superior jeweler, especially because Kilgroth actually did a very good job of of waiting out for the cooldowns of walks to go down. So when you see that that AOE, AOE damage around him, you just wait for that to go and then you engage on him. Abyssal Dragon, meanwhile, was picked up there again. This objective focus and awareness coming out from 1717 is huge. That's 3 Abyssal Dragons now, with Fennec taking them every time, securing them effectively. It's just given them such a gold advantage. So even though they weren't 7 kills up at this point in the game, they are 3 Abyssal Dragons up, and that's the reason they're sitting on 25k to the 17 of the enemy side. So Bloodlines have got a lot of work to do here. Gamped waiting in a bush, suddenly realizes it's not just a Violet that's taking that jungle creep, and they are going to get themselves out of dodge. New Era do pick up the Spirit Sentinel in the process, and they're just going to clear the waves. But just look at the lane control coming out from New Era. Like right now, every lane is pushed. So if they win this team fight, which they will try their hardest to do, Nirvana doing some great work though for Jinnar, but it's not going to be enough. Lubu does go down though to the Jinnar. Take that back. I didn't think it was going to be enough to pick up Lubu, but I thought Lubu was going to get out there in time. He didn't. Jinnar managed to pick that up. So the Nirvana ultimate, obviously that big AoE damage coming out from Jinnar does serious work in these clumped up situations, especially when you've got so many slows. You team it up with the Fennec ultimate, anything along those lines, or even if you've got that, and it comes up very quickly, as you can see as well. Huge presence there from Jinnar, doing great work. Picks up a bit more health as well with that new item. So he's going to do a little bit more. He's got a little bit more AP. He's got a little bit more damage, and it does mean soaring. I can't remember the name of it right now, but soaring something. And he is going to get a little bit more AP and a little bit more health, to keep himself more sustained when he goes into these situations with Nirvana. Then just another turret go. Wow. Meanwhile, Chogno is just taking Sage buff and pushing top.
Lubu is the only hero surviving 4 bloodlines here, and then New Era does have the Dark Slayer buff, and they manage to push into the base through the 3rd tier tower in the mid lane. So very, very dominant display so far from New Era. Do you see a possible comeback here from Bloodlines?
Man, I'm not going to say no, because we know full well that an arena of literally take 1 or 2 team fights and the entire game can change. I mean, I've been in a late game where people were trying to take our base, and we've killed the enemy team because they got too greedy. We've literally stomped mid, taken out 2 turrets and won the game. Like, it can happen. Towards the end game, the 40-second plus death timers are just a nightmare, and it does mean that the game can turn just like that. However, like I've said before, right now this is New Era's game to lose. They are in a commanding position, 12-1, only 1 kill being given up, and that's on Wukong, hashtag feeder, for giving up that 1 kill. Had he not died and they do win the game now, they'd actually have a perfect game. Because at the moment there's no turrets, no dragons or no slayers been taken by the Bloodline side. So if Wukong hadn't died and they win this game as it is right now, it would have been a perfect win, although he's looking like he's looking for his 2nd death right about now, but Rubik's is going to be forced to back off. He's not actually backing though, he's keeping himself fairly healthy, and that is going to be another turret going down in the mid lane. A high ground turret does go down. Meanwhile, in the top you see Violet and Alice pushing and taking out the 1st turret of the game for Bloodlines. They are going to be looking for a 2nd one here, and they probably will get it because it's only Wukong defending, and I feel like Wukong is going to be in a very bad position if he tries to go in against both Alice and Violet. And he does have an Arthur and the rest of his team charging in. They didn't like that at all. They were like, hang on, we had no turrets against us, and now we suddenly have 2? This is how we answer that. So yeah, they didn't like that one little bit as the entire team descended on Violet and Alice. They're now going to turn their attention back to mid and push in the waves here. They do have a severe number advantage as they take down their 2nd high ground turret. And Kilgroth earlier on was looking strong against Arthur, but however, when you're on very little health, Arthur is still going to win as he picks up that kill onto Kilroth, and it does mean they can now push in. They're going to do what they can damage-wise to this turret. They don't have a wave just yet, but it will be coming shortly. That is huge damage coming out from everyone, from Raz on everyone, but it isn't going to be enough to stop the push. Without even a wave there, they are going to manage to pick it up, and that is the 2nd game going over to New Era, and GG. Great play from them.
GG indeed. So there we go. We have the winner of the losers bracket final. That's gonna be New Era sweeping Bloodlines 2-0. Despite the disappointment losing against M8 Hexa Alpha, New Era came back strongly to beat Bloodlines. in a 2-0 as well. So Bloodlines does have another chance to qualify via Group H, so that will be played on Tuesday. So make sure you guys stay tuned if you would like to see if Bloodlines will manage their way into the top 16 or not. So yeah, there we go. 2 great matches today between M8 Hexa Alpha against New Era and then New Era against Bloodlines. Any verdict for these 2 matches? Which team do you like seeing?
I very much enjoyed seeing Alpha's play. I think their play as a team and the overall synergy was very impressive. I think they clearly had a little bit more strategy and game plan going into their games than we've seen in some teams who are just picking, you know, generally strong heroes or heroes they feel comfortable and competent in playing. You could see a little bit more strategy with the things like the Challenger bans and things like that coming out from Alpha. They knew exactly what they were going to be going for team-wise before they even went into that draft, which is quite a nice thing to see in these early stages of this league. So there's clearly a little bit more of a professional element to their play. We saw that yesterday with Doministus as well. They were doing very similar. And you're seeing this kind of, not a tier difference, but you're seeing a clear difference between the teams that are working hard on playing professionally and you know, they're working hard on their training and their synergy versus the teams that are just playing casually that want to try and achieve something here. And don't get me wrong, I love an underdog and I would love for a team to come out of nowhere and just absolutely smash this. But teams like Doministus and Alpha, you saw today, they just had so much more strategy about them. And that's what you need if you're going to be winning these games, and especially as the tournament goes on and you get further down the line, you're going to have obviously better and better quality teams coming towards the head, and those teams are, you're going to need that strategy, you're going to need that pro level mentality in order to beat them.
Yeah, that's right. I think that pretty much sums up the current situation of the Open Qualifiers. Of course, that's the purpose of the Open Qualifiers as well. We are trying to weed out the better teams. I mean, the better teams should progress to the regular season, as we have seen, and the weaker teams should have dropped off already. But for those teams that unfortunately fall short due to really tough matchup, they do have another chance in Group G and Group H. That's gonna be on Monday and Tuesday. That's gonna be the 2 final group brackets for the Open Qualifiers before we move on to the regular season. So yeah, so those are the matches tonight. We only have 2 matches for you, but I think I'm pretty happy with all this great Arena of Valor action that we have seen, and I'm sure I hope you guys did as well. This is Valiant Realm League. My name is Chisin. I am the organizer as well as the host for Valiant Realm League, and my co-caster here.
Hey, I'm Mal Fakarum. Yeah, I'm a streamer, content creator and caster for Arena of Valor, as well as other games, but primarily Arena of Valor these days. You know, we're all here because we enjoy the game. So yeah, basically you guys can find me on Twitter and on Twitch. Feel free to tune in, check out. If you've got any feedback for me regarding my casting, by all means, please do. Obviously, the Valiant Realm League is in its early stages, and I'm also in my early stages of casting Arena of Valor. So any constructive feedback is very much appreciated, but make sure it's not too mean or I will cry.
Nah, I think you'll do fine. So yeah, so do follow Mal on Twitter and Twitch as well as Facebook. If you're on Facebook as well. So if you're interested to get in touch with me as well, I'm Chisin RPL. I run RPL, which is a Royal Premier League, Clash Royale League. So yeah, if you're interested to collaborate or if you are interested to sponsor the league, let me know as well. We are always open to collaboration and whatnot. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you so much, Mal, for joining me to shoutcast this. I didn't really shoutcast much because my voice, you can clearly hear from my voice that
I would like to say to those that were listening, I think I was talking possibly too much. I was purposely talking a little bit more today. Voice, It's a little bit dire, and I didn't want to have to put in too much work today. I wasn't intentionally hogging it, honest.
Thank you so much for saving me. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed all these matches. I'll see you guys tomorrow again at 9 p.m. GMT plus 8. So make sure you guys tune in. Please like, follow, and subscribe our Facebook, our Twitch, our Twitter as well if you like to know more about Valiant Realm League, and keep up to date with everything that's happening in VRL. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and have a good night. Bye bye.